Today I want to talk about conflict, getting into conflict, because that's one of the things that has always been a sort of defect, a sort of flaw in my character, because I easily get angry, and anger is stigmatized emotion, and one shouldn't get angry, women shouldn't get angry, and in fact I have a sort of it's hard for me to keep my feelings, although of course with age and years of psychotherapy I've been trying to not hurt people, and to try to explain things, and to try not to explode. At the same time, I think that the energy of anger is an incredible energy that can be turned into a resource. Let me explain. Conflict is something that society wants to hide and to avoid at all costs. Why? Because it hurts people. Why? Because if you get into conflict, you fight, and then other people will blame you, will label you, and so on. And also because sometimes it's very hard to solve conflict. But it's even harder to solve conflict when there is a lot of conflicts that have been repressed, and therefore at a certain point then you explode and it's terrible. Yeah? But if people would be more able to fight, not exactly physically, but to fight, to fight in a certain way, but letting the anger out, I think that would allow people to be able to solve the conflict. But of course, it takes, what's important, if we want to, for example, use Marshall Rosenberg's nonviolent communication, he says that in a conflict, two parts in a conflict are often very unaware of each other's emotions and needs. Yeah. Well, the emotions sometimes, the anger is very, it comes out, but the needs, the authentic needs of each other, of both parts. Okay, so what he says is that in a conflict one should express how one feels without attacking, yeah, just the pure sentiment, the pure feeling, the pure emotion, without attacking or judging the other, and also the expression of our needs. Yeah. So, for example, if there is a conflict in which I have said repeatedly something to someone, and I have made a request several times, and this person seems to not listen to me or not give value to me, and this request was something important that has had some consequences, yeah? Some bad consequences for both parts, okay, let's say. Therefore, I'm getting angry because this person didn't listen to me, and didn't give value to what I was saying, and didn't do what I was asking her or him to do. And therefore I'm angry, yeah? So instead of saying, you don't never listen to me, you have done it, you know, see the results of, that's your fault, and so on, that would be attacking, yeah? So instead of doing that, I would say, I feel very angry because I have told you several times this, and you haven't listened to me, you haven't given importance to that, and now we have a consequence, yeah? So these are facts. It's not insulting the other, it's not judging the other, and also it's expressing these feelings. If I want to express my need, is perhaps the need should be more specific, perhaps the example should be more specific. For example, I told this person who is, for example, my roommate, my flatmate, to lock the door while we were asleep, and it seems that he didn't do it or she didn't do it, and the next morning we found out that all our computers were gone because someone entered in the house because the door wasn't locked, for example. Yeah, so I could be very angry. So I would say, you know, you never listened to me. I asked you repeatedly to lock the door when you were coming back, because I went to sleep before you. So why didn't you lock the door, you know? And therefore I could say, for example, I need to feel secure, to feel safe in my own flat, in my own house. I need to take care of my things, of my computer and my stuff. I need to have a safe place where I can leave my stuff, you know. So these are needs, yeah. And therefore the person would realize what they've been doing, you know, and they would respect that. But if I'm going to attack the person, then of course the person will be mad at me as well, and we don't get out of the conflict. So my proposal, because when you're really, really angry, yeah, it's very difficult to do what Marshall Rosenberg says in a moment of calm. So he suggests as well to wait, yeah, to wait for. But I don't. In my case, the anger doesn't go away if I wait. It just grows and grows. I need to let it out. Therefore, my proposal is this: I record a video. Why? Because in a video, the other person won't interrupt me because she's not there. Yeah. In a video, I'll be talking to the camera, and therefore I will get probably less nervous. Yeah. And I'm as if I'm talking to myself. Anyway, I would say, "Oh, I've lost my computer! Oh, you know, I've lost my computer and this makes me crazy. Now I have to buy a new one, and all the work that I've been doing, you know, it's just horrible. And it's just only because I asked you to lock the door, and you didn't lock the door, you know, and I asked you repeatedly, could you lock the door, and you didn't lock the door, you know. That's only facts, okay? I'm not accusing, you know, I'm just saying facts. You didn't lock the door. You forgot to lock the door. But I'm letting out my anger, and that is important, because when you let out the anger, not right away, but after some hours, after some time, you will be cooling down, and then you will feel terrible. You will feel the pain. Normally, when you allow yourself to feel, after the anger, you will be feeling pain. Pain for the pain that you have caused to the other by showing your anger. Pain because the anger is violent, and you feel it. You can feel it. Your own anger, yeah? And this pain can trigger a process of knowledge. If you're really there, like, if you're not escaping from the pain, and you're not escaping from what's going on, you know, because there's some people who will want to distract, you know, but I don't distract. I just think about what's happened, because I can't think of anything else. When there's a problem, I just think about it until I solve it in a way. And therefore I try to make sense, you know. Why did I do that again, you know? Why did I explode with my anger again? And it feels terrible, and therefore I'm paying for it. Paying for something that you've done is good, because paying for it with your own pain, it means that you're going to open up your consciousness and being more aware of what you've done and why you've done it, and about your aware of your feelings and aware of your needs. Yeah, and this is a process of knowledge, and therefore it's a process as well of knowledge of the other. And therefore a first video letting all your anger, but without judging, without accusing, yeah, just expressing your feelings and your needs. Yeah? You do this first video, and then you try to calm down and do other things, and then thinking about it, when you reach that point in which you are, it hurts of the anger that you've let out, you could even, like, in this anger, like, do something like that, you could even hit a cushion, I don't know, But then you feel bad, and in that point, when you reach that point of feeling bad, you can take another video in which you say why you're feeling bad, and how you're feeling right now, and what are your needs, and perhaps you can also imagine what are the other person's feelings and needs as well, okay? And then you can send those videos to this person, just explaining that these are two videos. In one of them, I'm letting my anger out, so prepare. And prepare, but be sure that this is constructive. It's not a destructive anger, yeah? It's just letting my anger out and setting myself free in order to solve the conflict. And then you say, this second video is a video in which I am trying to make sense of all this. If you want to first look at the second video and then look at the first, perhaps that's a good thing as well. So that is a possible methodology. Yeah, and with this possibility, because of course, systemically, I mean, we are all connected, yeah? Bateson says this, the pattern which connects. We're all connected, and therefore, Carl Gustav Jung would say the collective unconscious, but we're all connected. So, systemically, sometimes in a system, which might be even a couple, one of them usually expresses the sadness, and the other one expresses the anger. And for this person, expressing the anger is easy, and for this person, expressing the anger is very difficult. Why is this? Because this person's anger is usually expressed like in a hub. This is the anger hub, and this is the sadness hub. And this usually, it becomes like a sort of role, that there is one who usually expresses the anger and the other one who usually expresses the sadness. But this should be reversed. And in a way, systemically, what happens is that usually conflict and anger are so stigmatized that a lot of people repress anger and conflict. And therefore, collectively, there is a collective anger and a collective conflict that pushes to come out. And when it finds one person, just like me, who gets angry easily, or who doesn't repress her anger, let's say, then it pushes through this person. So it's not to justify my own anger and my own exploding anger. And I hope that you are not going to label me that thinking that I'm someone who constantly explodes, because that's not the truth. Actually, I'm someone who, well, I shouldn't define myself, because it's useless to define ourselves. But usually, if I'm free to express my anger, then I'm not exploding so much, because my anger comes out. When it needs to come out, it comes out. Yeah. It's true that sometimes I try to be nicer. I try not to explode, yeah? And therefore sometimes I do explode. So it has happened yesterday, and this is why I'm making this video today, that I had a conflict with someone. And in the moment I had this conflict, I just didn't care, and I exploded. And I could have my reasons. I'm not here to convince you that I was right, of course. But then a moment came in which I was really caring, and I really because when I exploded, I didn't give a shit about that person. And later on, I thought, I don't want to lose this person. And I think that this is very interesting, because that's why it's so important that anger can be let out in a video and not directly as a message to someone. In my case, it was an email. It wasn't in person. And that's good, because in person I was like, it was worse. But instead of an email, instead of a direct email, to make a video, because with the video there is this eye that's looking at me, and there's the world there looking at me, and I'll be in a way performing something, and the performance as well will be transforming this emotion at the same time, because it is art. Well, not always, but if you try to make it beautiful, it's going to be art. And therefore it is in a way transformed, and therefore the person with whom you were angry will receive this in a different way, not in a direct communication. So it is a non-violent communication through a video, for example. The only thing is that you have to take care not to judge, and not to accuse, and not to insult, and express just how you're feeling, your feelings and your needs. And that's the best way, I think. And we have been doing this. I mean, I'm telling you this because with my group of facilitators, of SPEX facilitators, we're holding workshops together, and we are doing this, we're doing exactly this on video. I started a bit provoking with some ideas. And then little by little, one by one, they started to film their videos and let out conflicts with me. Conflicts that they had never told me. Things that they had never told me, but they were hurt because of this. And therefore they started, well, they did these videos, and then they were expressing their emotions. They were not accusing me. They were just expressing their emotions and their needs. And they were making a request. So I didn't feel accused. I didn't feel bad. I mean, I felt bad because I felt bad because I had hurt them. But immediately I could react in a good way and say, yes, of course. I mean, thank you for telling me. Thank you for telling me. And it's so useful. And I could reply back with a video. So, and in these days we're sharing so much together that it is really incredibly creative, and it's just fantastic how we're growing together. And how we are, because of course, I mean, I am the director and the founder of SPEX. I am their teacher in a way, and they are the SPEX facilitators. So there is a power relationship there. But at the same time, I am putting myself in the same level, and I am allowing them to say what they feel, and I'm responding to them, and I'm also. One of the things that I started to, actually my provocation in my first video was to talk about envy. You know, what is their envy, and and what is my envy? You know, well, I didn't say about mine at the beginning, but in my last video I did say what I envied about each of them. You know, and they would say what they envied of the others. You know, and that is so incredibly cathartic. Yeah, it unites people, and it's been incredibly cathartic also because, I mean, each of them has said something difficult about themselves as well, and I've been saying difficult things about myself, so we're sharing so much, and this is what really unites, and the fact that we are a team and we're holding this workshop together. I mean, what a workshop we're holding. I mean, it's like, wow, this is how I want to work. This is absolutely how I want to work.